Got it. Okay. Let's see who else pops in here. B-Rus, you could do some of it on the B-Rus. It's going to be, the B-Rus is similar to the B-Celtic. So you'll be able to do a modified version of that for sure. B-Kurd is what it was written on, and B-Celtic, B-Rus could also work. So, all right, here we go. We're gonna get started. So I'm gonna play it for you to start, so you can hear the main themes of this. It's incorporating sort of another Christmas song in the beginning of it, just because it works as a transition into Carol of the Bells. So I'm going to play that to start with for you. Here we go. For those of you who are not my students as well, we're going to be kind of going through this relatively quickly, presuming that you have some experience playing. But if you have not worked with me before, I offer lessons. I do one-on-one lessons, I do group lessons, and they're all song-based. So if you're learning a skill, you learn to use your pointer finger or your middle finger in context of a song. So it's a little more interesting. It's not percussion-based, it's more music-based. So this is using that same mindset. So let me turn my camera around so you can see my instruments. My messy work desk. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to play our version of this tune. Just the basic version of it. You could obviously improvise through that, but that should be enough to fill this time. Let's see if anybody else has hopped in here that I've missed. No. So what scales do people have? I know you have a B-Kurd, Chuck. I know you have a B-Kurd, David, as well. Someone said they have a B-Rus. Hi, did not receive the link I just saw on YouTube. Please put me on your list, rockybeach.com. Let's see. Let me send it to this person, as always. All right. Oh, the fun of electronic classes. Let me send this one more link to people. All right. rockybeach@gmail. So this will work, like I said, on the B-Kurd, B-Rus, B-Celtic, but we're going to write it as if it's on the B-Kurd. So that will be our primary instrument we're going to do it on. Let me just email this one person. Also, I'm going to send you guys a copy of this at the end, and you'll be able to have the tab as well. So, okay. So to start off, I usually like to use a tab system. And for those who take classes with me already, you already know this, but I'm going to show you. I am not anti using notes, but I think it doesn't make sense for this instrument because it's all pattern based. Knowing note positions is more important than knowing the notes that you're playing. And this, Aaron's joining us too. This is good because I could hand you a different scale, and if you knew a song or a pattern on one scale, you could instantly transfer it to another scale. So this opens up a completely different way of thinking about the shapes of songs and the movements. This song is based off of a triangle shape, and it's going to be using notes 6, 5, and 4 as kind of our anchor point. And you'll see as we go through. This is just a little tab diagram for what this is going to look like for you. Some people like to number their instruments. I was just teaching a class in New York where we had 20 people, and by the end of it, they remembered the numbers and were able to play a song. So I think having the numbers on there definitely improves your ability to sight read. Even I struggle sight reading my own tab sometimes if I'm teaching something. If I look at the tab, it often throws me off. So when you're learning to play this, after you get the initial movements and you've listened to it enough, and I'll also send you guys a link to the song in its entirety as well. But listen to it, internalize it, then look at the numbers, and then try to let go of thinking about the numbers, because usually thinking about, I'm hitting note number 6, I'm hitting note number 5, is going to throw you off in your learning of it. So combo using D major and G minor. Oh, okay, we can do that. I can also write the notes to the right of it as well. That's a great idea. You have an integral. Okay, integral you could do as well. B Celtic, B Rus, B Celtic. Okay. So I'll do a dual tab, I guess. I'm going to tab it on the Kurd to start, but the B Celtic will be one note lower than this. So we'll start with that. I'm going to start tabbing it on the B Kurd, and then we're gonna transfer it over to other ones. Here we go. All right. So feel free to ask questions. You can unmute yourself as well if you need to ask a question and I don't hear you. I'm going to save myself some trouble and copy and paste. There we go. So here's our little intro. I think the easiest way to approach doing this is just commit one hand to each side to start. When I'm doing the walk downs as well, that's going to make it a little bit easier if you just say, I'm going to use my right hand here, I'm going to use my left hand here. So this is for B Kurd. I'm probably gonna have to make this a little smaller for us. All right, so here's this first line. So we're gonna use left hand on 4. Every time there's a pause as well, that just means that you're leaving one beat of space there. So I'm doing 4 space, 4 space, 8 space, 8 space, 7, 6, 5, 4. And at speed. Oh my goodness. All right. So anybody want to try that line out for me if you have a B Kurd? Just to hear what it sounds like from somebody else, if you dare. Anybody willing? All right. No takers. Oh, thank you, Chuck, for retrieving your instrument. All right, we'll do the second line as well. So 4, 4, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then it repeats. 4, 4, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4. All right. Makes sense so far? That's how the B Kurd is going to look. On the B Celtic and the other B scales, this will look like. I'm going to write them in parallel with each other here. So B Celtic slash S will look like this. Celtic. And David, if you want to use the notes too, I can send you a note version of this at the end as well. But so on the Celtic or the Russ, 3, 3, 7, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Any takers with a B Celtic that wants to try that? I'm so used to doing one-on-one or in-person classes that it's oddly silent in online group classes. So if you feel daring and want to try it, then just unmute yourself and tell me. I'll play this part once more. 3, 3, 7, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's our intro here. Right. The opposite of this for us. There. And really all the differences between the two of them is that the B Celtic is shifted down one note. So you could pretty easily swap this over. 2, 4, 3. All right. Does that make sense to everybody on those two individual scales? This is an interesting dual dual tabbing. But makes sense? Yes, so far? You understand the numbers in the system? Yes? Okay, good. Again, this is not how I would normally run a class, but I wanted to be able to fit as much into this hour as I could for people. So we're pretending that you know what you're playing already. Or you know how to play, I should say. I can figure it out, but if you want to, yeah, for sure. I can do that for you, David. No problem. That'd be really quick to tab it at the end. If anybody wants this tabbed out in the notes rather than my tab system as well, I'll send you a copy of that at the end too. So I'm happy to do that. All right. If anybody wants to volunteer to play it, feel free to give that a go. If not, I will continue on.
I can play it. I can try.
What did you say?
I can try.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Nice. Very good. Very good. Not too bad. It's actually not a hard song. This intro part is kind of a nice way of getting into it. But the shape, once you get used to the shape of it, it's a pretty easy thing to walk down the scale because essentially it's all based off of 3 notes, really. So excellent work. All right, moving on. We're going to add in. I was smart and tab this out in front of me. Oh. All right. Swap back to my Kurd. So we're going to the lower part of the scale. We're going to be adding in our walk down here using this. Let me move you guys down here. So we're doing 8, 2, 3, 4. Oh, Tatiana's joining us too. So 8. This uses some harmonics to make up for notes that we do not have. So anything that you see an H next to is a harmonic strike as well. 8. Hello, Tatiana. 7, 8, 2, H, 8. 7, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 4, 6, 7, 3. Has anyone tried to write or tab out Christmas songs in the past? Because I found in the last couple of years that many things are based around like a B minor. So you can pretty much play any of the minor sounding Christmas tunes on the Kurd or the Celtic scale, which is kind of fun. Okay, so our next portion of it right here is 8, 2, 7, 8. 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And that's the intro. Pretty reasonable, not too bad. All right. Hi, Tatiana. How are you? All right. So, anybody willing to try this part for me? I'll play it once more and then we can give it a go. Same thing for the Celtic and the Russ next to this. So that will all be pulled down one note. So it'll be 7, 1, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 7. Rav unfortunately did not do a good job of explaining which scales this was going to be focusing on, but I won't fault them for that. 7, 6, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, so that is the tab with the B Celtic or B Rus. Obviously, B Rus and B Celtic are going to be slightly different because we don't have that half step, but it's close enough where you will recognize the tune. That's the hard thing with playing covers of anything on these instruments, is you have to accept that you're going to be missing some notes unless you're doing what David's doing and is making up for notes that are missing in your scale by playing across other instruments. So here it is on the Celtic, just that bottom part. Not too bad so far. That's just the intro. So I like introducing it like that rather than jumping straight into the song. So, making sense so far? I'm going to make these tiny bit smaller. Sorry if these are too tiny for people to see, but I will change them after. I just have to have a room to fit everything in here. So I'm sure some of you are on iPhones. So scooch you over here. Okay. There's the B Celtic. So here is the bulk of our tune today. I'm going to play the intro for you on the Kurd. So I'm using my left hand to lead in this movement. So my left hand is going up on the 6, right hand's doing 5, left hand 6, right hand on 4. I like this movement because then I'm choosing to use my right hand to walk down as I change our root note. And in my style of teaching, the root note is usually the bottom half of the instrument. And it's the note that's kind of the note that's telling our brains, this is the chord progression, this is where we're going with the song. And it makes organizing music a little bit easier because you're focusing more on how that lower note relates to the rest of the notes. So I'll play it for you. And each of these is 4 times. So far. So 6, 5, 6, 4. I'm gonna cheat and copy this. Okay. So here we go. This is what it will be on the Kurd right here. So I'm using right hands, left. So left, right, left, right. Oops. Left, right, left, right. So I'm bringing my left hand from the 6, and I'm moving over with my right hand, because when I'm playing this, especially on the Kurd, I'm going to want this movement to be comfortable. So I'm using this to cross, and then once I've nailed in that shape, I'm able to transfer between the root note, and the root note's just walking down 4, 3, 2, 1 as I'm going through this. I would recommend dividing up the task too, so that if you're using your left hand on the 6, you're using maybe your right pointer on the 4, or sorry, on the 5. Whatever you use for your last strike, you do it with your thumb. So you're having a little bit of differentiation between those fingers. So thumb, pointer, thumb, pointer, thumb, pointer, thumb, pointer, thumb, pointer, thumb. Swap. And there's a pause after that first strike. Volunteers to try that out as I type out the Celtic version of this. If so, just unmute yourself and give it a go. And I'm going to copy this. Put this here. Celtic. This. This. So it would be 5, 4, 5, 4. We're going to B Russ or B Celtic or B Russ. This one in a way is a little easier because you're repeating your right hand twice and they're kind of using the dyad on this side. So I'm doing 5, 4, 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 5, 3. And this is going to change as we walk down. We're missing a half step here, so we're going to have to make do with the notes that we have and walk back up. So on the Celtic, it's going to sound like the center is a nice place to resolve it because we are missing that half step, like I said, in that spot. So this is our change right here. Okay. These are the notes that are changing in this movement. Okay. Any volunteers on either of those scales to give it a go? I'd love to hear somebody else try it if you're daring.
I can try.
All right, go for it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Beautiful. Once you get this movement integrated as well, it's really easy to keep that going. It's a song that I think is kind of fun. I think it is enjoyable to improvise on top of because it has a really defined progression and it's a melody that people are familiar with, so you can jump back and forth into that melody really easily. So amazing job. Thank you so much. Any other takers to put you on the spot? Nobody? All right. All right. Next level. So on the Kurd, we're going to be taking this movement and we're going to be changing what the top note is. So we're going to be doing sort of an alternating movement with our hands the first time. So here's the next section on the Kurd for you. I like using my left hand to reach up to make sure that it's easy for everyone to see. There we go. Now you can see this better. So I'm reaching up. Left, right, left. first strike that's changing on this one. The Celtic, it will be the same concept as well, but we're going to be walking it back up and down. So let me show you what that will look like. All right, there we go. So on the Kurd, it will be like this. There we go. So we're going to be doing a walk down with our left hand, and this will be left, right for this guy. All we're doing is in the actual song, they have this sort of walk down that they're doing with the melody on the top, higher end, and we're emulating that by adding in that walk down. With the left hand. So not too tricky. Once you get the hand position down, it's not too bad. On the Celtic, same concept, but we're missing some notes. So we're gonna have to modify some of where we go with that. So it will look like this. Swap this out. The only thing I dislike about the newer Ravs is I'm so used to being able to put them during lessons on the ground and not having them slip because of the old rubber eds. But in group lessons now, if I put them on their side, they just end up falling on the floor because they're metal. So not as good for me in group lessons. But so on the Celtic, I would still say you could use the right hand, I suppose, to swap that. Yeah, we'll do that. So we'll do 8s. Yeah, we'll do that. So we'll do 7, 4, 5, 3. So these are going to stay the same as we go through it. This took me, when I initially wrote it or tabbed this out a couple of years ago, it took me a couple of days to really smooth out the movement. But once I had the movement, it really was not hard to hold on to. And I'll show you what it sounds like on a D or C scale as well, so you can compare that. So we're going to be doing... We're going to start up on the 8 for this one. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. And this change again are these notes, 4, 3, 2, 1. And in this case, we are doing... this. Anything in yellow too is the real movement that we're using and where most of the melody is located. So this yellow part obviously is where the movement is. In this case above it, that's where the melody is moving as well. So this part, this is kind of giving us the feeling of the progression. And this is the triangle shape that's locking that into our brain and locking it into our ears as well. One of the ways, if I was doing an actual group lesson or an individual lesson with somebody, I like to think of things in terms of shapes. So on the Kurd, we're using this triangle as our sort of anchor point, and that bottom note is changing depending on how we're moving. On the Celtic, we're using this triangle, and we're changing where our hand is going on the top. So we're doing doo, 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 doo. So we're using kind of a Z shape for the Celtic, or the rest, depending on what you have. Okay, so let me play both of these together for you, and then I'll also do a tab at the end for the integral as well, because Rav did not do a good job of saying which scale this was for. So here it is from the beginning on the Kurd. You could repeat this multiple times if you wanted to play it longer. Anybody daring enough to try it on the Kurd or the Celtic or the Russ? This part here, or this part here if you're using the Kurd. Any volunteers?
I don't know. Yeah, I'll give it a try.
Thank you, Chuck.
Sure. Okay.
Perfect. That pacing was really good as well. What you heard him do is what I'm doing. I'm adding one beat of space after that first strike, and that's what's giving it that particular flavor. If you just do, it doesn't have the right feel. So a lot of this song in practice is adding in those spaces sort of for that lingering dramatic effect. And you'll find when you're practicing it, if you don't leave the pauses in that I wrote, it's going to feel like something's missing from the tune. So thank you, Chuck. Anybody else? Which fingers am I using? So I am using thumb, pointer, thumb, thumb. So in practice, Rocky, I think that's who asked that, I'm doing thumb, pointer, thumb, thumb, and this is on the Kurd, obviously. On the Celtic, I'm doing pointer, thumb, pointer, thumb. On the Celtic. Okay, I'll make sure I write that on top of the other one as well. So this will be. Let me fix this because I told you the wrong hands on this one because I copied it. Right, left, right, right, left. I'll actually put the fingers on there above there for you too. So this is pointer, thumb, pointer, thumb, pointer, thumb, pointer, thumb, thumb, pointer, and thumb. The P is just pointer, T is thumb, P is pointer, T is thumb. And for this one, I'm doing thumb, pointer, thumb, pointer, thumb, thumb. You could also do pointer. You could do all pointers if you like pointers better, but I really think there's value in splitting up the task. In individual lessons with people, I really harp on splitting up the task between hands because it's super useful, especially if you're doing something faster. You really need to have some dexterity between both hands in order to play things effectively. So, all right, I'm going to make this a little smaller so I can fit our last little bit on here. We're flying through this time. This is going to be 1 hour. That's the time I can afford today for this. So I'm also going to try to do this out on the integral for the person that has an integral, but I can send them that after the fact if they message me. This to And 1. Okay, just want to make a little room here for us. Almost fits. There we go. Okay. Am I missing a line down there? No. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to move this over so we have a little extra room as well. Our last parts. Is this making sense to everybody so far? It's not too tough so far if you have a little bit of experience with where we're going here. Any questions as well? Feel free to turn on your microphone if you have any questions. Happy to answer them. If there's no questions, let's keep going. All right. After our little walk down here, we're going to be, yeah, no problem. Change to B golden gate. Ah, okay, nice. Okay. Yeah, I'll tab this out for you as well, David, like I said at the end, and that'll be easier. Okay, so we're going to be using the next movement. So we're up to that walk down the. Okay, we're keeping the same shape now. So we're going to move up. So we're going to be up on, in this case, on the 7, or sorry, on the 8. So 8, 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 8, 6, 8, 7, 6, 8, 7, 6 on the Kurd. It's going to be a little different on the Celtic. So the bridge will be Kurd. I can send you guys individual tabs as well, so you don't have to look at the Celtic or the Kurd divisions here. 8, 7, 8, 6. 8, 7, 7, 6. Times 2. All right. So again. And those pauses are just giving us the flavor we're looking for here. And this is still using that same spacing as before. As soon as you lock into the rhythm of this, it's pretty easy to extrapolate from as well. On the Celtic, it's going to look like this. See. And that'll be 7, 6, 7, 5, 7, 6, and 5. All right. Celtic slash Russ. All right, so that's our next movement for the bridge. All right. This uses harmonics. Again, this is not a full lesson. This is just kind of a quick thing, but I want to get the last piece of this in here for you before we're done in our hour. I'm using harmonics as a walk down, so I'm doing the wings, which you guys probably know if you're already players. I'm not individually muting each harmonic because that would be too much time. I'm doing. So I'm doing 4, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 7, 6, 7, 7, 7, 8, 7, 6, 4, 4. What's the next one? I'll write that down. 4, And these are all with the harmonics on the wings. So. Same sound pretty much for the Celtic. It'll just be scooch down one note and we'll be missing something. So 3, 3, 3, 2, oops, 2. So okay, that is the next bridge, and then our last little piece is and then the classic walk up. Not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 6. And for this one, it would be times 2. Okay. Highlight this. Any takers for any portion of this that they want to try? Let's see what other questions. Does it matter which side of the wing you're using? No, doesn't matter too much which side of the wing you're using for the harmonics. Both wings will give you the same note. If you're not muting anything, it's the same on both sides. If you were to isolate, it would matter. But just for using the wing, I'm just aiming for this area here. It's really whatever's comfortable for your hand. Here or here. The reason we're using the wing is we're kind of trying to make it sound like it's higher up than it actually is. And that's what's going to give it the particular flavor that it has. So. And then you go right back into the beginning part again, which would be the second portion that we wrote down. So this should be part A. I'm going to write this letter format for you. So this would be A. This would be A if you have a Celtic. This would be B. B if you have this guy. And D if you have this guy. All right, and then, so the song order for both would be A, B, A, B, A. The intro starts. And again, this is a simplified version. If you wanted to learn the full version, we could definitely do it in a lesson or the more complicated version. All right, I'm gonna give it one more play for everybody. If anybody wants to give it a go, we can, and then I'm gonna get going. So I'm also offering a songwriting class that is gonna be completely different than what we did here, where it's a 3-week course. We meet 3 group times, and we have 3 individual times where we work on a piece that you have or that we start together. And by the end of 3 weeks, we have a song and we all present it. It's really fun. It's a fun class. All of the people that did it last time were very successful in writing a song. It turned out amazing. And it's a good way to meet other people in the community. So if you could as well, if you want this file and this tab, send me your email address either on Instagram or Facebook, and I can put up my email address here as well for you too. And you could send me a message. So here's my email, wildyoursoul@gmail.com. That is my email. And I, of course, a couple of you people here already take lessons with me. I offer one-on-one lessons with people that are song-based. It's kind of based at wherever you're at. So I have people who are, just touching the rav for the first time, all the way up to people who have been playing for 6 years, 5 years. So I work with people where they're at. It's super fun. It's a great way to learn. Very different than this because it's interactive. In group lessons, it's hard for people to want to volunteer. So thank you for you guys who did volunteer. And let me play it from the beginning for you so you have the whole thing in front of you. All right, so here it is from the top. And then we'll say our goodbyes after that. This is our intro. Good work, guys. So let me save this tab for us. That is saved. So again, email address is right there. You probably already have my email address if you're signed up for this as well. You could message me on Instagram as well, but email's easier because I can send it to you directly from there. Yeah, you guys were great. Let's see what somebody said in chat. Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, it's fun to do stuff like this. I mostly teach through my own music. I've written tons of material to teach for classes, so it's kind of fun to do a holiday song. I really like this tune as well. So be in touch if you guys would like any individual lessons. I have some openings coming up for January, so I'd love to get you on the schedule. And tons of local shows coming up, and a group class in New York coming up as well. So would love to see you guys there. But any last questions before we go? Feel free to ask if you guys have any questions. Good.
How are the chicken girls doing?
The chickens are good. The chickens are good. We had a little more snow last night, so they don't love the snow all that much. So they've been trying to dodge stepping in it as much as they can. But I'm amazed my parrot Gracie was quiet this whole time. I put Christmas music in the other room for her, but she managed to not yell in that that whole lesson. So, but thank you guys. Happy holidays. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And again, feel free to write down my email address. I'll leave it up for one more sec if you want to email me. And I will get you the video and the tab. And again, if you want to be able to write a song, or the 3-week songwriting intensive in January would be a great thing to sign up for. Even if you're just starting playing, it's a great way to develop confidence in starting to write things on these instruments. So Chuck can attest to that. He's gone through it once too. So, all right. Stay well, my friends, and happy holidays. I'm glad it wasn't too scary. It's been awesome to see how you teach. Thank you, Karen. I'm glad my teaching method is not scary at all. My teaching method is based off of listening and is not music theory based per se. So yeah, but thank you guys. Love you, and I'll see you soon. Okay. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.